right, good evening, everybody. We're calling the meeting to order. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. The entire committee is here with the exception of Steve Meager, but he's on Waikiki Beach, and I can't say that I blame him. We also have guests this evening, Lauren Wright, our VSO for Hubbardston. You all met her vicariously at the meeting last time. She Zoomed with us, and Ed Blanchard is back as our advisor. So we have a quorum, and the meeting tonight, we have the agenda. I sent that out to you earlier, and I would say the first order of business would be to look at the minutes of the meeting from last time. I think we have an advantage now, because you can automatically assume that if people want more details, they can look online because it's videotaped. But I wanted to have a chronology of what took place at the last meeting. So I'm going to give you a minute or two to look those over. I'll call that a draft because I finished it about 15 minutes ago. And if you have any exceptions or amplifications that you'd like to add, by all means, please do so. Okay, with that in mind, can we make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay,
Aye.
the minutes are accepted from the previous meeting, thank you. The next item on our agenda is to review, discuss, and vote on the final list of names to be added to the monument. And from last meeting, we had a list that we looked at, and you wanted time to do some looking over, verification. I can tell you the two changes that have been made since the last time. In other words, the list you got last time was as of April 12th. This is as of April 30th. I made the little change on my list that I gave to you. It should be as of April 30th at 3 p.m. The two changes are, per Bill Withycombe, Don Carter has asked that we not put an asterisk in front of his name. Correct, Bill?
He was adamant about that, I'll tell you.
Okay, and that's all there is to it. Case closed.
Don Carter?
Don Carter, whose name was under modifications last time to add a gold star because we had assumed that he was in country.
Am I blind? Because I'm not seeing him on this list.
That's why he's not there anymore. Because from the original list that I gave you on the 12th, his name was there with a gold star in front of it, under modifications. Now that name has been removed because he does not want it modified to add the gold star.
Oh, I was looking in the wrong section, sorry
Okay,
about
so
that.
it's plain now on the monument. He wants us
It's
to leave
perfect.
it that way.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Second change, and that was on the list from April 12th that I gave you. That name was in red because it wasn't verified. I did a little more research, and that's George Richard. And Richard family's been in town forever. I spoke with his nephew, Mike Richard, and he checked with his aunts to be sure. Mike Richard was a school teacher at Quabbin, been in town a long time. He's a reporter for the Gardner News and the Worcester Telegram. Now lives on the Cape. Had a conversation with him. He verified for sure that his uncle, George L. Richard, was in the Navy during that time frame, and that he was not in country. So his name has now been officially added to the list, bringing our total of additions to 18. So with that in mind, any discussion on the list as you see it in front of you?
Yes,
Okay, and that is?
was looking up everyone that I could find information on. Starting off with George Babineau.
Mm-hmm.
I have an obituary, and I don't know if it's the same George Babineau. But this, it's the same name, same middle initial, same, would have been the right age.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a Korean War vet and not a Vietnam War vet.
Yeah, and
And
there's,
he's not from Hubbardston. So
yeah,
I don't know if
this
it's
one's
his
not from
guy.
Hubbardston?
That's correct, but there, it
Okay.
doesn't say Hubbardston. in
This,
there.
George Babineau was from Hubbardston. He served, not only, during the Korean War, but stayed in after. So it may have listed him as a Korean War veteran, but it doesn't, I don't, unless it says his time of service. Does it say 53 to 58 or anything like that?
It
just
just
says-
says Korean War,
Okay, yeah.
but it does have a date range.
And so, does the committee want me to research that more? Or do we want to
No,
accept that name?
There's several of some of my,
Babineau family.
well, I was working while I was in Vietnam. My bosses were Vietnam or were Korean War vets, so that's, I mean, it's not. You're
He was
talking-
born in 29.
You're talking,
Did he have a son,
Yeah,
George?
you're talking the price range, that's 20
Well, no.
years, 25 years.
I don't know, I mean.
Because there was a George Babineau that did live in Hubbardston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
know.
remember, this is a single obituary, but it was the only one I could find,
Yeah, okay.
but
Yeah.
it gave me some.
But nothing
doubt.
about him being, yeah, formerly of Gardner, it says, yeah. And what we had, that goes back to one of our original lists, and we had family feedback on that. But with the, I will pursue it one more time a little further. Anything else?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so,
Let's see.
I mean, with you have, doing that, if you get the answer, yeah, he was Korean, but, and
Again.
I'm all with this and just go forward, I would
okay,
say.
all right, so if I find out that for some reason his only years of service were 52 to 54, Korean War period spans that period, by the way, then, and I find out because we did at the time have feedback from the family, I'll go back to my original notes and see if I can find anything that would further verify that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And Andrew N. Erickson, same thing. He's cited as being a Korean War veteran.
Okay, I would absolutely say, know for a fact, spoke with his daughter,
Mhm.
and he was in after the Korean War and served during the Vietnam period.
Okay.
Yeah, I confirmed that with Don Warford.
Okay, you know it too, okay,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I talked
good.
with him.
Thank you for checking on that.
John Howlett, I saw that he lived in Gardner, not Hubbardston. I know that Tom Howlett used to live here.
Mhm. And I had spoken with John Blather, but his obit, said he lived in Gardner? He also lived in Hubbardston at one time.
Okay,
Mhm.
good enough for me. Let's see, and Osmo
Yep. mhm.
Tuskula.
Yep.
Let's see, it mentions U.S. Air Force, but not the years he was posted.
Yeah, and literally, Lauren had done some research on him, and then Betty Bumpus verified that he had definitely been in during the period.
Okay,
Yeah.
those were the only ones
Okay.
that I was concerned about.
Okay, so we have just one, and that would be George Babineau. That I'll
Is that
check
something
on.
Lauren could help
Uh,
us
can
with,
you
or not?
immediately find that? I have all her notes from, but I don't have them with me tonight.
Okay.
I have my notes that I sent you.
Okay.
Which one are you looking for?
Osmo,
No, George
George
Babineau.
Babineau.
I think I did it.
Yeah, George Babineau.
Did I research that one?
no, I don't think so.
I don't think I
No,
did.
but you got Osmo,
Yep.
Tuis.
Yep, he was 60 to 64.
Okay, cool, all right, good, thank you. Okay,
I did find out that Ed Bagdonis was an Olympic hammer thrower.
yeah, absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
He was
that
a
was
cool
in his
dude.
obit, wasn't it? Yeah, how
Sure
about
was.
that, yeah. Did he
Just
come in
wanted you to-
7th place?
Let's see.
Did you ever try that?
Said he took part in the hammer throw, so.
Yeah, I think he came in
didn't say.
seventh, yeah.
Did you ever try that?
Pardon?
Did you ever try that?
Oh, no, heck,
That's
no.
scary as hell.
Liable.
It's scary.
Yeah, yeah,
It'll rip your hands, your arms right out. of your-
absolutely, yeah, my arm would have followed it out, yeah, so.
So
Okay.
is the need for a motion to approve the list of 17
Absolutely,
and give the chairman the ability to decide on George Babineau
absolutely.
such that
That's what I'm looking
that
for.
could be included so that we don't need another meeting?
Yes, okay,
I'll second that.
He
okay,
can't make the motion.
I can't.
no, okay,
I
would
was
somebody
just
make a
asking
motion?
that.
No, I was, Tom, you wanna
No,
make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Then I will second it.
Okay.
Hey, we're legal.
All those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
okay. Because time now is of the essence. We gotta get, well, we know what we gotta do because we're gonna talk about that next, so. All right. So going back to the agenda. Next item on the agenda is the plan of action to get the names engraved on the monument prior to Memorial Day, which is the 29th of May this year. So, Ed, speak a little bit to that
Yeah.
and,
First, I'd like to talk about a couple of options on how we might get them on the monument. None of them are perfect. We have we got columns 1 through 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the back of the side of the monument. On the 8th column is where we had that space for adding names. If we look at that space and fill it up with names, we can get 14 names, which means we'd be 4 shy.
leaving them at the same size and font, which
Yep.
is an inch. Mhm.
Yep. We had left a space in between when we got done with the original names, and then when we added those other 4 names, there's a space in there, but that space could be filled with 1 name, and then the others, and they're not gonna be alphabetical, obviously. Obviously, the 4 that we added are alphabetical, and we'd add these alphabetically,
Mhm.
but
Would that give us 15, room for 15? or
no,
14.
So we got 4 to deal with in that scenario. And so let me give you the other scenario from my measuring. We could put, like at the end of row 1, the
On
first
side,
row, which would be front left
Front.
side. And they'd still be, well, if you take the first name and the bottom name in that row, Ayer and Babineau would be in that first row. So we could add, the plan would be to add 2 names at the bottom of each row. The
we had discussed that there was enough room
Yeah,
at
there is.
the
there's,
bottom to add 2 names.
Yep, we could do 2 names. So,
So just get them in the row that they would have been, but a right spot.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why you're saying the A
Right.
and the B, yeah.
So I've got those all pretty well delivered.
So in that case.
Where they would be.
Yeah. In that case, we would use column 1, add 2 names.
Yep.
Column 2, add 2 names.
Yep, and then
That
comes
accounts for
James
the other 4.
Carpenter,
Okay,
and he wouldn't fit in, but I would put him in the 8th one on the back,
gotcha.
where we had that space.
Mhm.
The C fits in alphabetically with the other 4 names.
Okay,
So I would put him
Gotcha.
there. And then, on the 3rd one, it would be Erickson and Hale. I don't have David Coffin anywhere. Erickson and Hale would be number 3, Howlett and Kangas 4, LaJoy and McLean 5, Mount Whitney and Nolan 6, George Richard and Taylor 7. So they all fit in pretty good that way. And then we'd have 3 more names that we would have to add to the back, the 8th column. And that
Instead
would
of
be
adding
Dave Coffin.
14.
Yeah.
We'd only be adding, instead of adding 14,
We'd
you'd only
be
be
adding
adding.
3 more names.
Okay.
4 names.
So that leaves us some,
4 names. So we got 7 columns with 2 each is 14, and then we got 4 that we'd have to add in on column 8.
Everybody understand that? Yeah. And that gets it really close. Will he be able to, he's almost gonna have to be horizontal in order to do that, because now it's really close to the base.
Yeah, the way he'll do that, or the way I talked to him about doing that would be, you know, he makes his rubber stencil, and then, so he'd have 2 names, rubber stencil, and then he'd leave more rubber, so that when he'll leave more rubber at the top too, so that he won't interfere
Yep.
blasting wise with any of the other names. So then 1 inch down from on column 1, he would start the next name, then have, I think a half, 3/4
Left at the bottom.
left at the
Yeah,
bottom.
remaining at the bottom.
Yeah, there'd be
Okay.
2 names there.
Mhm.
Then, because the way it is now, the name is 1 inch, and then we got a 1/2 inch
In
spacing.
between.
So there'd be a 1/2 inch spacing, then 1.5 inches for each of the other 2 names. And then what he would do is he would make the stencil such that it would come out so that when he's blasting it, he doesn't blast the bottom or any of the base.
Mhm.
So that my impression from knowing blasting he could do.
Okay.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, it's not perfect, but to me, it's the most perfect, at least that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got them in there.
Alpha's out the door, any way we look at it.
Right.
Yeah, no ifs, ands, and buts. And we want to maintain, you know, we thought about, well, what if we reduce the size to 3/4 inch? We don't want to do that. We want to give them equal
Right.
space. And so.
the only other way you could do it was do 14 names in row 8, column 8,
And then
and then do 4 names
Mhm.
somewhere else.
you could put 1
Yeah,
on the bottom of each of the columns,
on the front or the back,
Yeah.
or something like that.
because
But I think that balance-wise, when you're looking at it, you know, we're going to have 8 names, 2 in each column on the front. So it's going to be row, you know, the only thing you're not going to notice is that, the only thing you're going to notice is that they're not alphabetical anymore. But otherwise it's going to look just like the other ones.
and my input on that from an aesthetic standpoint, the fact that we put that base at the bottom, the grass never gets high enough. I won't let it, and they don't let it. So there's never going to be a point where it's going to impact on a person's name where you're not going to be able to see it.
Right.
So, okay. Let's talk about it. Input.
I say let's go with it, I'll make the motion.
Okay. Now,
We got a couple of other things that I want to review too.
regarding that,
Regarding the, we've got we've got Charlie Fox Jr. is up there, and can we remove it? The answer to that is yes, you can remove it. When you blank something out, it's gonna take the coloring that we have in the lettering, if you blank it out. Could that be dyed and made black? It could be, but
it's still going to stick out like a sore thumb.
but then the only other thing you could do, which I don't think is a good way, and I'm not suggesting we do it, is you could take out Charlie Fox and put somebody else's name there. But it would be deeper now because you've already cut for him, and that's probably a 1/4 inch thick, so then you'd be a 1/2 inch in deep, and I don't think that's gonna look good.
I'd say we leave it, and it's
What
one
do
of
we
those
call it?
quirky Hubbardston things.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
anything
None
we do
such.
to try to remove it's going to be,
Mhm.
make a
We could
bigger
always say
mess.
that we put that in there because we didn't want it to be perfect.
Ah,
Yeah,
well,
but
lobby,
that's a
lobby.
good excuse.
Nice.
It's
Look.
excellent, but not perfect.
My view of this whole thing from the very beginning was that when we were all done and you know, all of this and what we've done and all of this paperwork is gonna go to the town. And it will always be, you know, something, well, I know something you don't know.
find it, right?
Find
it.
This Charlie Fox lived at the corner of Morgan Road, yet he was a farmer that worked at Rutland Heights Hospital.
That's correct,
And
yeah.
is that the same
Yeah.
Charlie Fox
Mhm.
that's too young to be in Vietnam?
Yep. Yep.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
But the junior
He's
was
junior?
12. No, the junior was 12 at the time the Vietnam War was
Okay.
being fought. So somehow his name got in there and got
Was
by
Charlie
the bully.
Fox Senior without the junior, or was
Yeah.
Charlie Fox Senior. Yeah,
Right.
he's
Was-
on it.
So get rid of the junior on it.
so if we got rid of the junior?
No, but
Oh, he's already
there's
listed.
already a Charlie Fox listed.
Oh, Charlie Fox and Charlie Fox
Yeah.
Junior.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
My
everything is going to be
recommendation would be-
contingent upon Bob Pearson, our guy from Leominster Monuments, being able to do it. But do you feel that he would be able to follow that scenario by putting the two names at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So,
The other thing, there was one other thing too, he can put on the stars where they needed, and he can add junior. Russ Hackler had the gold star, he can do
Mhm.
that
Yep.
without any problem. And, fixing Toivo, that's like Charlie Fox Jr.
right.
We just leave it alone and, you know,
We can blame the government for that one because that was the official listing.
Absolutely, yeah.
oh, really?
It was, yeah. Well, we were dealing with so many different lists, and then Lauren, she went back and looked at the same,
Yeah.
theoretically the same research, and came up with names that we couldn't identify originally, and the previous VSO wasn't able to identify.
I should have picked that up though, cause I knew him,
Yeah, but it's not an easy name.
but anyway.
All right, so let's clarify what we're going to vote on. And so we are voting as a committee to add two names to the bottom, trying to follow alpha as close as possible to the bottoms of each of the columns on the front and each of the columns on the back. And then the remaining four names would be added to the back side at the bottom of column 4. That sound clear enough? Okay, all right. So let's have a motion.
Oh, you got it.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. We have a good plan of action.
Okay,
So-
so I will call, I've already been in communication with Bob Pearson from Leominster Monuments about our need to get these names up there and do it before Memorial Day. And he said if I can get him the list, right after this meeting, that he would make sure that gets done. I will call him tomorrow morning and engage him to come over, cause he said he wants to come over anyway. Come over and meet with Bill and myself or anybody else who wants to come. And
You'll let us know when that,
yeah, I can
rendezvous
let
is,
you know
yeah.
when he's
Mhm.
coming. And then he can come over and he'll take a look at it and he'll take measurements and so that he can make the stencils, and then he'll blast that all in half a day.
really, that's what it'll take? Yeah, that's not bad, okay.
Yeah.
And we've still given him ample time to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know
Because you
whether we
check.
need to refigure, because I think when you figured that we only had, at the time, maybe 14 names.
No, 18. I think I figured all 18.
Oh, did you
Yeah,
figure all
according
18?
to this list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But that was rough. I mean,
got
that was
enough.
fingers and toes and, yeah.
Yep.
So, and then we'll talk about the budget in just a minute.
okay,
Okay, so that's good because now we've covered mistakes, modifications, and additions. And we have a plan, and I believe it's the best possible scenario for making it all happen before Memorial Day. If I don't want to forget, so there will be an announcement during Memorial Day. Tom is our master of ceremonies. He's going to have a outline and script to follow. He will make mention that we would like very much for everybody here to stop by the Vietnam Veterans Memorial again and to notice the changes and additions that we have made to be as close to perfect as we can regarding all of our Vietnam era veterans. Okay, the proposed cost to have this done, this we'll know better after, because I was basing the figures on last time he did work for us, which is only a year ago. And I'm presuming that based on our relationship with him, that I don't believe there'd be a drastic cost modification. But I verified what I told you last time, that in our account, we have $2,160.79. Okay? And literally, the cost to have it done was, where's my copy?
16 something.
1797.
$17,997, that's correct. So we have enough money. But then I told you last time, Betty Bumpus, who knows everything about everything in town, God bless her, she said she worked to get the World War II memorial done, and there was money left over after they had done that, refurbishing the other monuments, et cetera, repairing them just like we did. And so she said there was an account called the honor roll account. And so I literally met with a town administrator. I told him beforehand what I was looking for, and he had absolutely done his research and found out that there is an account called the honor roll account, and that there may have been money taken out of it at some point, because the number I gave you last time was 4,000 and change, and he gave me a dead reckoning account what they had done, because the money was idle for a protracted period of time. They took it and they invested it into the accounts that are investments account for the town, and that literally in that account is, what did I do with that number? 3,000, hold on. Many pieces of paper.
Too much paper, boss.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Where did I put that? Here we go. All right. In that account is $3,839.94. $3,839.94. And I said, that's the good news. Now I want the better news. My understanding is that account was set up to honor our veterans and could be used in any way, shape, or fashion to repair, restore, refurbish, or anything to do with all of the monuments on the common. And he said, I have no reason to believe that it cannot be, that it wasn't used for that. And I said, if needed, could the Hubbardston Vietnam Veterans Memorial Committee have access to that money, should we need it for any purpose that's directly related to the original purpose? And he said, I don't see why not. The only caveat is it isn't like you can go and make a withdrawal immediately, because it's invested. So access to that could be 30, 60, or 90 days, but certainly available. And as we have in the past, and as we will continue to do in the future, is to be organized and anticipate something like that, then we could make a request for a certain amount of money, describe what the purpose of it is, and I believe access that. So from a financial standpoint, I believe we're in good shape.
Who's responsible or in charge of that account?
I would say that the combination of the accountant and the treasurer,
No,
and
I
then
mean,
under the auspices of the selectmen.
So, so it's not like a veterans account or anything like that.
No, that would be,
There's
that'd be too general.
right. I mean, I know they take care of the funding, but who's in charge of wanting to spend it?
I would say that combination of the selectmen
Yeah,
with purpose.
yeah.
In other words, it would be a group such as us, an organized group, that would approach them and say, we need X amount of dollars, here's exactly what we're gonna use it for, how do we get the money? And I bring it
Question,
up.
rather than have our account and the honors account, where ours is just for the Vietnam Memorial,
Mhm.
what would happen if we took the balance of our account, which would be under $400, and rolled that into the honors account so that they'd have one account, and then because we could access that with our funds and their funds, then there'd only be one account.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense than having maybe two accounts.
if that is the thinking of the group, I'll be happy to approach the town administrator. Once we're done and we know that we may have less than $400, who knows, for
Yeah.
all, but for any balance we have, if it's all right with the committee, I'll approach the town administrator and ask him how we would like to handle the amount of money that's left in the account.
How important is liquidity to us?
I think that, what do you guys think? I think that once we're through this year, I can't see any reason why, unless there was a need for repair, that we would have any reason to need any more money. What do you think?
So,
I agree, and if we put it there, and, you know, there's a certain number of things that could happen, you know, we could have somebody go up and blow things up, but,
Mhm.
I think,
We could put in the town's lap that we basically dissolve the committee. and
Yeah,
say
we'll
that-
see. That might be the case, because that may be their,
and let them
um,
handle the funds.
we can ask them if they would like, if they feel that the purpose of the committee is finished, and at some point they could dissolve the committee, and then it would be a town
Like they do the
responsibility.
bandstand and
Yeah.
a lot of this
Mhm.
stuff.
If the committee voted, or at a later date, maybe not
Mhm.
this meeting, but at a later date, that, you know, our mission is complete, and we've expended the lion's share of all the funds, and what little we're gonna roll into the other, then,
We could make Memorial Day.
because as your advisor, I think after these names are put on the monument, that my time and energy is going to move to other new projects in
There's
town.
other issues too, Ed. I've been in tremors in the town about Afghanistan and another monument.
Yeah, somebody asked for,
So if we, no, I'm just saying, then all of a sudden they come to us and say we can continue our work, which is, you know what I mean? So if we dissolve the committee as of,
That would be for another group.
yeah,
Mhm.
but I'm just saying, if we dissolve the committee because our mission is done, and on
Mhm.
Memorial Day, and put a little stamp of approval on it, would be.
Mhm. I also
something
checked
like
on DraftKings, you know, that's one of the platforms you can bet on.
Right.
The odds are 3-1 that there'll be one or two more names that'll pop up that we'll be asked to put on after this.
Yeah.
Topical, nice.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. Yeah. Like to know how much money was lost on the Bruins game last night.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, all right. Moving on, Memorial Day Parade and Service. Literally, Tom and I have been serving on the Memorial Day Committee, and Lauren has sat in on quite a few meetings. We've made an immense amount of progress towards the Memorial Day service. We will not have a big band. We didn't have a big band last year. We won't have a big band. We're going to have DJ Ray is going to entertain the attendees and the parade. We're going to set him up on the back of a trailer, and he's going to play patriotic songs and do a very good job. Laurie Reed has volunteered to do some commentating at the end. We're going to set up a float in front of Flo's house, and DJ Ray will continue to play music at that point. And as the floats are coming down, Laurie has, not officially, but I've been told that she's willing to do it. She just needs a call from me to commit, which I think is great, because I was going to have DJ Ray do some of that, but Laurie still knows so many people in town, our former town clerk, and a wonderful young lady. So we will have a drone again. We will have Monty Tech will be there as a color guard. I will not know until the 8th of May if the Massachusetts National Guard will be involved with the color guard, because they have not been able to make a final decision regarding availability of a color guard for that day. But we've kind of overcome the obstacles of the way the road is set up, and so we have an okay from the chief, and we believe that we can pull it off, and everything else seems to be falling into place. And I certainly invite you guys and gals to participate in the parade and to be in attendance that day, and certainly march if you choose to do so. So, Tom, you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm not really. I was going to just talk to you later on. I need to, are you going to have the,
She's going to make a talk, give a talk.
yeah, but we got, the lady that's gonna come and give us,
The chaplain.
the chaplain,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Did you volunteer to take her in your car?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'll be driving her and possibly the major, possibly the
Yeah.
senator,
And possibly you.
and possibly.
How big a car do you have?
I have a sedan.
Okay, good,
So,
okay. Unless you want to march, because this year my Packard is probably not going to be available, so, but I will take the Grand Marshal. I will have a car for the Grand Marshal to
I think you
sit
have a
in.
new one, don't you?
Well, I got a couple new ones, but no, but that's the Corvette, so that's
Yeah.
only got one passenger, so,
Who'd
I
you
can
get that
fit
from?
3 passengers comfortably.
okay, 3 comfortably, yeah,
Th-
yeah,
3 people in the back would be a tight squeeze.
okay,
So
yeah. We'll work it out.
If, I can,
You could squeeze, Tom.
I can hike.
You
Yeah,
could squeeze.
okay, yeah. That's a possibility, yeah, okay.
I have a question for you regarding taps.
Yep.
The
Glad you asked.
Yes, the scouts that I was considering have given up bugling. So there will be one taps player, sounder, that would be me. Do you want me to notify Bugles Across America that we're looking for someone else? To
Absolutely.
do the echo?
Yeah, absolutely, because
we're
we need the
looking-
echo.
Either that or
Looking-
you're gonna have to run in the back
Yeah.
right quick.
That'll be a way far echo. So, noontime would be what we would post?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
My grandson did it last year,
Yeah.
but I
He
don't know
did.
whether we want to.
He was
I don't
great.
It was great.
Was
And
it
what we
okay?
plan on doing
Yeah, he was
is
fantastic.
forsake the tradition of having that individual in the cemetery too far away. We want to hear them. So whoever does the retort, the response, I want them closer to the activity that's there in order to be able to hear it. You know,
And just put them on the backside of the people that are out there.
yeah, I mean the backside of the podium area. Is that what you?
Well, I think you're probably gonna have you're gonna be up pretty close to the podium doing that, aren't you?
Yes.
Mhm.
So let's put her,
What do you think? Mhm.
you know, somewhere, you know, on the common, but, you know, maybe over towards
I mean, like where the attendees are, like sort of in the middle area, you know, where we have the floats.
Right.
They're gonna be on the left-hand side. So if we had somebody in the grove of trees, halfway down the driveway, what do you think?
It's supposed to be muffled. You're not supposed to hear it clearly.
Yeah, but you wanna hear it. I wanna.
Well, you do, but it shouldn't be like someone standing 20 yards away.
So can a bugler modify or modulate the
Volume.
how
They
loud
could
it
use
is?
a
Volume.
mute, but it's a lot easier to just put them further away.
Laura, can we ask you to help us with that?
Could you hear
Okay.
it last year? No.
I
No.
could.
I could not hear him, and I was at the podium area.
I could.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was not, you couldn't hear every note.
So is he
Yeah.
way in the cemetery
Well, he
standing
was
there?
right at the edge of the, where do you
Yeah.
think he was? Right at the edge of the cemetery.
Yeah,
right?
as close as you could get on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stone wall there.
And still be in the cemetery.
And still be in the
but,
cemetery, yeah.
Well, if someone stood by the chain link fence where the playground is and faced out, then they'd be close enough so you could hear it, but facing away so that it's muffled.
So will you take care of that?
Yes.
You know, good, okay. So, you'll check on Bugles Across America. Is that something that would be a cost to us?
Absolutely not.
Okay, great, all right. And, as a backup, if that doesn't work, Ed,
Well, you can take care of it.
Okay.
He's,
good, all
you
right,
know,
good.
He's a busy boy with things to do.
well, yeah, but
That's good. That was definitely something I was gonna bring up. Okay,
And I'm going to be picking her up.
Okay.
And she's going to be coming to my farm. And I'll be doing that. And because you're going to have her in your car,
Mhm.
we'd like to invite you to join us in our post
Party.
potty.
Thank you.
We do normally the people that we get in, we try to get them to come. We live, I don't know whether you know where I live, but it's,
I'm not very familiar with the town.
well, it's easy. Brigham Street.
Mhm.
Go down all the way down to Brigham's Pond, and then all the way up, and then right at the top, when you get to the top, there's three roads, or three places you go. Straight ahead, it becomes New Westminster. Off to the half right left, it's Old Westminster.
Mhm.
And then the other one is my driveway.
And he has indoor plumbing. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Just recently, right?
Yeah, just recently.
Sign that
Although I
says
think
it's
we've got that finished, finally. Yeah,
I'll come for a little while. I'm
Yeah.
bringing my husband with me. He
Good,
just got
good.
back from
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
great.
And then the next morning early, I gotta get on a plane and go to DC. So stay for a little while.
And will he march in the parade?
I think he'll be marching. He's not gonna be driving with me.
Okay.
He'll be marching.
No room for him. Good, that'd be wonderful. We would definitely embrace having him there. I put in a little addenda under other items not anticipated by the chair, and that was brought to my attention by the town administrator, who is doing a good job and wants to be very involved. And I knew it, but he brought to my attention that March 29th is Vietnam War Veterans Day. And I gave you a link
May.
there you can look up.
May 29th.
No, March 29th. Yeah. May 29th is Memorial Day, but March 29th is Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day. And Veterans Day, not
Day.
Memorial, yeah. And there's a link there that talks about the activities, and we both thought it would be fitting for us to establish a tradition here in Hubbardston to acknowledge and have some sort of activity, even in the school, to let our youngsters know about the war in Vietnam, and to observe that with some official capacity starting with next year. So,
I'm all in.
okay, great. I think that's a great idea, so. Okay. Anybody have anything that I may have forgotten? Ed?
Well, no, this is items not anticipated. While I was up there today measuring the monument, I noticed that all the flowers and all the plantings that we did last year are dead.
Mhm.
And we have about $350 left from our account, subtracting what we're gonna do the names with. Do we wanna have that planting done again for Memorial Day?
And that would be just around ours or around the others too?
She did them all.
Yeah. And what did that run last year?
I think it was around $350.
Mhm. And they're really not doing well? They didn't spring back?
No.
Okay,
Yeah, they're annuals.
they're annuals, okay.
Yeah,
I
good
mean,
perennials.
they're an annual, I mean, just once as opposed to annuals.
My sister-in-law was up there, afterwards trying to keep them up. But I'm 80.
She's
and
85, right?
She's 85.
I thought so, yeah.
And so we were up there. We just don't have anybody in town that's. When I first moved here, there was a group of only women in town,
The garden club.
the garden
Garden
club.
Club, yeah, about that, huh? Yeah.
that would
Well,
do
Ed's
that.
brought up a good point,
Yeah.
and let's discuss that. This would fall under, would you, as a group, like to hire the gal, individual who did it last year, and spruce up the monuments?
I would say that's contingent on how much the engraving costs, because you're working on last year's prices.
Yeah, and how about if we give her a budget?
Oh, sure. She was very good to work
Yeah.
with.
Mhm.
I mean,
Who did it?
if I really was smart, I would have brought that cost with me, because I think
I think it was around 300 or 350, yeah.
I think it was 300.
So
Well, I'll put it this way, we won't go over what we have in the treasury.
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion to authorize expenditure of $300 to
Okay.
refurbish and replenish the flowers on the monuments?
Actually, I think it'd be easier for her this year because, well, I went around and dug out all of the beds. But, you know, I think it'd be easier for her this year because she had to clear out, she had to weed out some of the other stuff and, you know, it won't be, yeah. I think 300 will
Okay.
do it.
I would amend that motion to say that that would be provided we have $300 left after we've gotten
Yeah.
an actual
Up
quote.
to $300.
After we've received the quote, because I don't want the engraver, if we go over budget, to have to wait for that unliquid money.
I
to
think
be
Ed
taken.
has a secret budget beyond that.
I'll make sure that
I
happens.
kind of thought that would
Without,
be the case.
without the amendment, I'll make
Okay.
sure we get it
All right.
done.
We should
So-
put perennial bulbs in that come back themselves every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like down at the cemetery,
Yeah.
daffodils.
We can recommend that?
And
Yeah.
everything, we should,
Mm.
instead of
Good.
doing this every year,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
Like tulips and.
So,
Yeah, things
this is
that
how
come
the
back.
motion would read. I'm looking for a motion to authorize up to $300 contingent upon us having that money available to spruce up with flowers, etc., the monuments on the common. Okay.
I'll make it.
Okay, we have a motion. Somebody want to second it?
Second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ed, will you take care of contacting her?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, anything else? All right, thank you all for coming, appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And-
So we
for all
want,
your
we
hard
want
work.
all,
Very
we want
adamant.
all
He was kinda like,
perennials.